Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to this edition of Inspirate Business, this very new show that we've launched. This is EP02, and I have in studio with me a good friend of mine and a budding entrepreneur who's been involved for many years in the corporate sector, running his own business as well, Mr. Matome Edmund Modipa. Welcome to the Inspirate Business Show, Matome.
Thank you, Yusuf, and thank you to the listeners as well.
Good. Matome, you and I met, what now, maybe almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
At that time, you were with the Royal Bafokeng Economic Board. But before we touch a little bit onto that and your work in the entrepreneurial space, prior to that, you were also for quite a while with ESCOM.
Yeah.
And we look at what's happening in our country at the moment, with all these blackouts, with the load shedding. And you were at a time, I think, just at the advent of democracy from 94 up to 2002. And I believe in 2001, I heard that ESCOM had won a global award, interestingly, as one of the leading energy companies in the world. And maybe that is a good way to also discuss where did it all go wrong, and is this an issue about, and many people talk about it, and I know you and I have had many conversations about it. This is because of this new dispensation, this new government. This is where it's all gone wrong. Some people say no, it was better under the apartheid government. Let's discuss this. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, and I'm glad you're asking me that because at the time when some of us joined ESCOM, it was when it was pleasurable to work for a company like ESCOM. In actual fact, I started with ESCOM in 1994 when I came from Unilever after my university degree. And when I finished, I joined Unilever for 2 years, but just to initiate myself in the world of business. And when I joined ESCOM, I was looking forward to be more grounded into appreciating and understanding the world of business. And for me as a leader to grow using the environment of ESCOM, because at the time, ESCOM was one of the top 5 utilities in the world. And ESCOM led in many fronts. For instance, the level of production efficiencies. We were sitting somewhere, if I recall very well, close to 98% productivity, which was unheard in the world. And then many other aspects on that. But the issue for me is that people were grounded on the basic principles of business. And we talk about issues of governance. The governance system were well entrenched. If I'm not mistaken, and I think ESCOM in terms of leading in terms of how to govern things, they were probably the leaders. Because when the Labor Relation Act was initiated, it felt to me that it was just a copy of what was already happening inside ESCOM to share with the rest of the country and many other aspects. So ESCOM was leading in many fronts because we had good professional people, both black and white, who were able to lead with ethics, making sure that we follow the rule of law, and making sure that we have got the good culture. And these are some of the things that led me to being much more interested in the subject of governance. And because my being as a manager, I can tell you it's as a result of the opportunities that I got out of ESCOM. I was allowed the freedom to exercise my innovative leadership skills in whatever position I was given, and then given the freedom to do so within ESCOM. And that allowed me to learn. But of course, because of also my personal grounding from home and from my religious...
You are originally from the Limpopo,
I'm
right?
from Limpopo. I'm from a rural area called Modipa, Hamujaji.
That's the land of the Queen Mujaji, right?
Queen Mujaji.
What they call her, the Rain Queen.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So I got grounded there from home and from my religious environment. As a Catholic, we got grounded on the basis of basic things of governance.
Discipline. And
More than discipline. You know, the philosophy of Ubuntu.
yes.
I learned through that, through my own family when they were growing us up. We have seen the elements of the humanity, which is to do with what I call the excellent trinity. I got grounded on issues of humanity. I got grounded in issues of performance, how to act and perform yourself such that you exhibit the humanity elements. And I got grounded on issues of sustainability. And these were coming from the ordinary people in terms of how they practice their life. And then I took that with keen interest. And when I was studying, I could observe that sometimes when we are being taught, things get scattered. But I managed to hone them from my background of being grounded on Ubuntu from a governance point of view. When I got into my world of work, and I could see them inside ESCOM in terms of how those things are utilized, and they are meant to do excellent work.
So just on that score, right? I mean, this is something that's quite interesting. Here we have these governance models. These, call them Western concepts of governance.
Yeah.
You know, you have King governance models, King 2. These are corporate governance models. Some of the leading governance models in the world, right? And then you say we also have a governance system in a traditional sense, in our cultural sense. Now, if we have, and we're blessed with this governance in terms of the corporate side of things, and then you have the traditional governance system, even from the Islamic culture, you have a system called Shura, which is very similar to the Ubuntu system. I mean, you take in counsel from various people. I mean, the Prophet ﷺ, he would take counsel before he made a decision, and then get everyone's input. One stage, they were going into some battle, and they took counsel from all the elders, and there was a youngster that gave his opinion, and he came up with something totally different, an innovative model. It became the battle of the trench. He suggested they build a trench to keep the enemy away, and he went against everybody and listened to that youngster. That is the Ubuntu type of management, where you collaborative listening. Now, if we have all of this, why then do we sit with the problems that we are sitting with as a country in terms of the SOEs in a mess, with everything that's happening?
You see, we have been fed with the governance models that are not useful. You know, we've been fed with those. And we kind of have been confusing or rubbishing that which is working and indigenous to be something else, that which is not. That's why I looked back in terms of my research on governance. You see, 1980, 1990, in the US and in the UK, that's when they initiated this corporate governance. It was not there before. you see. And it came as a result of the corruptions that were worsening, which were beginning to be embarrassing to the United Kingdom and to the Americans in view of the fact that they were exposed to the world. But as a way of trying to do a cover-up or being in a reactive way, they initiated the concept of corporate governance from the concept of governance itself. Here in Africa, we have had that for centuries in the form of Ubuntu. And unfortunately, Ubuntu has been wrongly defined to be something else in order to confuse people.
It's actually seen as something very soft, very esoteric,
Yes.
lacks science to it.
Social responsibility,
yes.
all those sorts of things.
We come to the actually at a very, very important juncture, but we've come to the end of this first segment. Just warming up with Matome talking governance and where we've gone wrong as a country. Matome was involved in ESCOM in the early years of democracy, and where ESCOM had won, was one of the top 5 regulators in the world. Today, we know we're faced with what we know, these blackouts, and we're just trying to discuss where has it gone wrong. We're speaking about governance and this Western concept of governance combined with the Ubuntu governance. After the break, let's go into more detail around how we can actually unravel this leadership void in our country immediately after the break. Welcome back to Inspirate Business. And this is the show that's here to inspire, empower, and enlighten you as we feature influential captains in their respective fields with the objective of learning from them, maybe getting some pearls of wisdom that we can implement in our own journey of entrepreneurship, in our own journey, or in our careers, in our growth path. I have with me Matome Edmund Modipa, a gentleman who has walked a long road, I know. Matome was speaking a bit about his days, having grown up with the African culture in the land of the Limpopo, the Mujaji land, and then ended up at ESCOM, before that with Unilever. You now run your own business, Matome. Sebata Group, it's called. You're involved in quite a few various aspects. Maybe tell us a little bit about what the Sebata Group does.
Thank you. The Sebata Group of Company, it's an engineering-led organization. And the reason why I call it engineering-led is because everything starts and ends with engineering. Now, having sat down when I was envisioning the business ventures I want to be involved in, it was first the realization that everything starts and ends with engineering. And the rest of the other stuff is support processes to the engineering value chain process. So I had to make sure that I set up a group of companies that has got an appreciation of engineering. I set up an engineering company. We do the entire development site.
From feasibility right through.
Feasibility, design, and construction, and procurement, the entire value chain, as well as operations and maintenance on the engineering. The other support businesses is in the area of safety, health, environment, and quality, which is to do with, again, governance, setting the ISO standards, setting the site inspection, and ensuring that what is being done on site is done in accordance with the rule of law and the technical requirements. And as well, we are an authorized inspection authority, which is a third-party inspection on pressurized equipment like turbines and boilers in the form of the power plants, anything that which is pressurized, in order to make sure that the components are manufactured accordingly in line with the law and the requirements, codes, and standards. We do that on site, in a manufacturing facility, even during construction, and as well as during the operation. So we are an authority on behalf of the Department of Labor to inspect and give a stamp of approval that everything is done in accordance with the codes and the rule of law.
Now tell me, I mean, you're saying, you're involved and engineering is so important.
Yes.
Right? Yet, when you look at projects in South Africa, right, you take huge projects like the 2 power stations that were built now recently.
Yeah.
That were supposed to deal with the shortfall of our electricity supply.
Yeah.
Yet, and we had international engineers come out. We went, I think the budget is like 4 or 5 times greater than what the original budget was. Yet we still sit with blackouts.
Yeah.
You take the recent floods in KZN. This is a natural disaster. Yet you've seen buildings, right, that just washed away. Okay, now, is this, you look at the general trend in South Africa of quality standards, even in the food industry, you've seen product recalls. There's a perception, and I say perception, that our general quality standards, our competency levels have dropped in comparison to 30 years ago. Is that a correct statement? Why are we sitting with these problems? Is it a competency problem? Is it a lack of quality? Is it a lack of these governance standards that you talk about?
To me, is the lack of the implementation of the governance system and the governance framework. Nothing else. I wouldn't say that necessarily the standards have dropped, because the standards are there. They are set. When we talk of ISO standard, it's ISO standard. When we talk of the codes that you need to follow in order to construct a power plant like Modipa Kusile, the codes are there. So the people who dropped the ball, it's leadership and management in terms of making sure that everybody that is assigned their duty and responsibilities, they do it in line with those set standards and set codes. When you lax on the aspect of monitoring and evaluation of performance, you lax that. It's the leadership that is a problem, not the standards which are a problem. It's the leadership. And it's not rocket science. I spoke about the governance and earlier on. Within the governance as a whole, there's different frameworks that are created, the kind of culture that you want to everybody to follow. The rule of law that needs to be followed, which is the law of the land, the codes of good practice, and the company-owned prescripts. They are there. And there's ethics. There's also relationships that you have with your different stakeholders. But when all of these things are not properly monitored and enforced, that they are followed in line with the prescripts that have been created, everything is going to fall apart. The issue of corruption. And corruption leads to many kind of problems. Let me give you an example with the floods that we recently had in KZN. And 500 people died as a result of what happened in April. And always the question that I keep on asking myself, and because I'm also in the Engineering Council of South Africa as a council member, and we share with some of the colleagues in the council, I always ask the question as to the 500 people that got killed in KZN. Who killed them? Is it the floods or is it the engineer? Because for me, we have always known that there are floods in KZN. From the time when I was a youngster, 1986, I couldn't even go and study at Natal University where I wanted to be, because my father refused and said, no, you're not going to where floods are. You are too young. I had to start at Tefluop, and only in 1989 could I get access into going where I wanted, which is Natal. The point is, we have always known that there are floods there.
Yeah, these are natural disasters.
Yes.
These are things that are beyond our control.
Yes.
And it's up to
the engineers
to have built,
to innovate,
yes,
and design structures such that they are able to withstand this natural disaster. But when corruption...
Right. And on that corruption, which you're talking about, people being leadership, the lack of leadership, the governance standards are there, engineering standards are there. They're actually even getting better. If you take ISO 20 years ago and ISO today, it's different because people are innovating all the time. The standards are there. It's the lack of adherence to standards, the lack of implementation of those standards, and the lack of the will to want to do. That's where the void is. After the break, let's go into what we can do differently to be able to live up to these quality standards that we as South Africans are naturally able to do. Immediately after the break. Welcome back to Inspirate Business, this fascinating topic. Talking to Matome, Edmund, Modipa from the Sebata group, focused in the engineering space amongst other entities. Matome has come a long way in terms of his days growing up in the Limpopo province. Today he's part of the Engineering Council of South Africa, involved on the continent, representing South Africa in the engineering space. Was involved in the Royal Bafokeng Economic Board, and has been an entrepreneur now for the last 20 years. Also has been involved in ESCOM. And we're talking about the lack of quality, lack of standards. And what we came up with, and Matome said that, listen, standards have actually, in fact, evolved to even a better level. It's the lack of these standards, the lack of implementation of these standards, which is crippling us. Now, as a viewer watching this, and I know it's on the lips of many people, I speak to many people in various groups as well. And this is an issue which is the elephant in the room. And I'll say it straight up. A lot of people watch and say, listen, pre-94, we had SOEs that were some of the best in the country, some of the best in the world, right? We had municipalities that were functioning. We had just basic services that were provided. Yes, it was done for a few at the expense of many, but we had a functioning infrastructure program that was happening. The view is to say, there's a view that says that now, 28 years into democracy, and all of this has failed. We were better off from that perspective under the apartheid government in terms of your service delivery, in terms of functioning SOEs, in terms of a functioning government? Oh, that question, I'd like you, Matome, to answer and put that to bed.
I think we are smarter than we were during apartheid. If anyone wants to tell me that I was better off during apartheid than I am now, to me, it's a fallacy. I think I have the freedom now to exercise better what is innate in me from an intelligence point of view that has been God-given, as well as the education that I received as a result of the freedom that we have achieved. I think today I am far much of a better individual than before. The issue for me is for us to exercise our leadership. Leadership here, I'm not talking about the president or someone else somewhere else. The leader in me. And take the baton and correct that which is not right and make sure that I lead. Today, I'm the chairman of the African Excellence Forum. It's coming out of the South African Excellent Model, which was comparable to the European Foundation Quality Management for Europe and the Bullrich for USA, FNQ for Brazil, and so on and so on. And from the leadership and the capacity that which I believe I have in order to contribute for the betterment of my country and my continent, I took that model, modify it with Ubuntu, because Ubuntu is a state of governance excellence close to godliness, which means there's no governance model that is better than the governance excellence of Ubuntu in the world. That's why I'm doing a PhD on it, to make sure that I correct some of the perception that were there around this governance. I said, but I took upon myself to modify the South African Excellent Model into becoming the South African, the African Excellent Framework, which has just been taken over by the Arabic world through our associate in Egypt into the Dubai, and that area is busy sharing that, and they are welcoming it. We are launching it in September in Dubai.
I can imagine it would be very easy, because if you take the Arab culture and infused, obviously, with Islamic culture, it's actually a very close assimilation between Ubuntu and the Islamic culture.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But from a leadership point of view, I said, I will take upon myself, whether here in the country see it that way or not. But I can't stop to lead and cry foul because somebody out there is doing things that are wrong. You know, how you eat the elephant, one bite at a time. You know, there is a principle of that says that we must be able to do things small everywhere, and they end up igniting everything. And if we want the change in South Africa to be what it is, you and I should do the best of the little thing that we can correct wherever we are. And whether other people like it or not, in the sector that I'm in the engineering cancer, as well as that, if everything is to be changing and be right, is when we can monitor and evaluate and make sure that we govern things in the right way. How do our engineers who are professionals represent us as EXA? Are they representing us at the level of the kind of code that we want them to be, the behavior, the conduct? It is within us to make sure that we regulate and ensure that the engineer do the right thing and not do bad governance.
Mm.
So if we can contribute small in that way, and we can change the world, we cannot blame politicians alone, because there's a corrupter and a corruptee. So if we want to make a change, I think that professionals can make that difference.
Now, on that score, if I'm a professional, right, and I come up with ideas in my little community to fix up my community with a project, maybe some advice, right, practical advice. I mean, I know there's a project that you're involved with, a innovative project out in Northern Cape, and maybe explain how that came about, and so that people can use those principles in their own way wherever they are. Because if everyone starts doing this, that's where we become agents for good, and
Yes.
we actually build a better country.
I give an example. For me, to be who I am, I come from a rural area. My parents have never been to sub A or grade 1. They knew nothing about education. But through volunteerism, I managed to contribute the things that which I felt I could contribute without even being paid. And the people that were owners of the area that I was contributing, they supported me to go to to start my education. They supported me to initiate my university life, and as a result of that. And I see the same concept also being exercised in our villages. You know, we may not be the same. You know, the minute you start making a difference to the community in a smaller way, that's how you get to be trusted. Other people are watching. Those that may have resources, watching you do good, which is humanity issues. And they will support you because they can see the dedication and the commitment. And in a similar way, to run a business, you have to have a conviction. And I was saying also that leadership is not something that somebody come and appoint you and say, I'm going to put you here. Leadership is taken. You pull the chair and sit on the table on your own, rather than someone inviting you to be part and parcel of the table. So everything comes from within. You and I, we can initiate anything and everything that we see not being correct without having to blame and point fingers at other people. You take the baton and you lead, because revolutions are not created by masses. Revolutions are created by individuals that sees the problem and they want to solve the problem. They take the baton, they lead, and the rest of the other people follows.
I mean, you know what? When you're saying this, I mean, there's so many problems we face as a country, but what that tells you is that there's so many opportunities to be able to address those problems.
Yes.
Because they say one of the big things as a businessman and humanity plus businessman to create, to be an agent for solutions is whatever that problem that's irking you the most, and you make that as your business opportunity to fix that.
Yes.
That's when you become an agent for good. And there's so many, right? There may be some in the humanities space where you see you want to help people in education space, or you're not getting a good service in some way. Create that business that then presents that service.
Many people don't know that business is about solving other people's problems. So opportunities are everywhere for you to take and lead. But when you are a business entrepreneur or a business leader, you should make sure that you don't chase for money. You must have the passion and the conviction to solve people's problems. Money will follow you.
Money will follow you. On that score, look how powerful that is. We actually have a misnomer that we say, no, we don't have the money. Go for your passionate project that where you believe you can make a difference, and the money will follow. After the break, we will explore how the money will follow. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Inspirate Business, the show that's here to inspire, empower, and enlighten you. And have we not been enlightened and inspired by Matome Modipa? We were just before the break, something very, very profound for would-be businessmen, would-be entrepreneurs, those that are struggling in their own businesses. And the point that Matome made, having been involved in his own business for the last 20 years, through its ups and downs, is that where you see a problem, you as a businessman are an agent for a solution for that problem. We have this misnomer that you need the money, and that becomes your blockage to be able to undertake that business. It's actually very much of a fallacy. You go out. We in the Islamic faith talk about yaqeen, or faith, of having that, to say that God will provide for you.
True.
You take the step, not having any of the resources, not having anything, and you say, this is what I've been called to do.
Yep.
It fits in with that passion of yours, and you get whatever that may be, and you do that, and the resources follow. You get the right people coming, the right opportunities, the right business, customers, money starts flowing, and it's about having that conviction, right? So, now that we've come to this last segment, I'd like us just to give a little bit more, or share a lot more insight to, youngsters that are watching, those that are struggling as well. A lot of businesses are struggling since COVID. And, I know your journey has also been one of ups and downs and so on. Maybe share a little bit of your journey as an entrepreneur, and what can be the lessons that we can take from it.
You see, of course, there are businesses that when you start, they need hard cash, like development projects. Initially, when I wanted to start, I wanted to build a 5-star hotel, but it was not practical from a cash point of view. But I also acknowledge that I've got skills and intelligence, and that can be utilized in solving other people's problems. And I set it up in that fashion, go into consulting. And when an opportunity came, the first opportunity was ironically within ESCOM, in terms of safety, health, environment, and quality and inspections. And I knew I don't have all of the tools that I needed in terms of experience and so on, that which was needed. I had to look who I can partner with. Believe you me, thank God it was a compulsory tender briefing, and anyone who was not there could not tender. So I went and looked at those that which have got knowledge and skills, have been there for a long time, multinationals, and I invited them, being the lead of that particular tender. I got one, and then we partnered. And initially they were even kind of trying to front me in a way, because they were not comfortable with the requirements that which were laid in terms of the relationship between a black-owned and them. And they said, no, this is your tender, and then we are just supporting you. If the product is we have to sell is 1 rand, we charge you 80 rand, and then you take 20 rand. But I capitalized on the fact that they said it's mine. So I said for a year, we partnered in that way. And then until I managed to acquire more than 1 million out of my 20 rand that they shared with me. And when that happened, I built my own capacity based on that money. And then within 2 years, I was leading everything. I was controlling what needed to be controlled. And that's how I managed to build up. There are many ways of killing the cat, and which can be utilized. I was sharing with an engineer that I met in Rwanda. On Saturday, we had a conversation. He was complaining that there, as engineers, when bigger projects are coming into our countries, only multinationals are the ones that are taking over those projects, and the local people are not taken serious. And I said to him, you know how to be taken serious? You know that in South Africa, there are engineers that have got the capacity that you don't have. You may have your own capacity. Why are you as African engineers not clapping together to make sure that you harness the capacity and the skills that you all have, such that when these type of projects come, you could present that front?
What an opportunity. You can take companies in Egypt, companies in Tunisia, companies in Nigeria, West Africa,
South Africa,
the middle, and then South Africans, and put together and then do projects continent-wise.
Yes. And I said, this is not rocket science. But because sometimes we are selfish and we don't want to do the right things, that which could take us there, we keep on complaining and complaining and complaining when we could actually be creative in the way in which we could lead. And this is to do with leadership again. You see, and because being selfish, being not exposed to realize your own weaknesses and harnessing the capacities that exist around yourself is the issue that we need to be looking into. And my business is built around collaboration. Collaboration and collaboration, nothing else. I'm not an expert in everything. I've got my area of interest, but the other people that come in, they augment what we could do better. And the reason why I'm following excellence is the realization around that, because it talks governance, talks leadership, talks so many things, capacity building. All of these things are very critical. But I think we need to change the way we do things. We need to change the way we think. We need to change beyond how we have been doing. I mean, a lot of people are clinging to being 100% owner of a business.
That's the old model, right? The old model of business. You've got to work with other people. You say collaborative model.
Yes.
That move away from that scarcity mindset to the abundance mindset.
And that's what Africans are all about. Coming together, working together. And we do better. We do more. If you want to walk alone, if you want to walk faster, walk alone.
Yes.
If you want to walk far, club together.
Of course.
You see, and it's the whole thinking.
But if you think about even the success of South Africa, and you take even the various communities, even the Afrikaner community, the way they built the country, it was about working together.
Togetherness.
You take the Jewish community, it's about working together. Take the Indian community.
Yeah.
It's about working together. I know simple things like back in the day, the guys came, and then if somebody was struggling, then they would come to one that's maybe doing better, and they'll come and get a loan and build that person. Eventually, that person will become a strong businessman.
Even
so that's the idea, right? And we as South Africans need to be tapping to each other's skills and competencies. And I mean, we are now operating in a world where we can attract funding for various projects. I mean, so many international funders are looking for projects, and we can be giving these international funders a good growth.
I tell you, we're busy with the project for potentially building a steel in the country. The person who is leading this strategically, which is Gary Kroll, he managed to gather us, a group of people, both black and white, with the knowledge and the skills to be able to make this a reality. Recently, I just come back from Kuruman, where we want to put this project. And because of the skills and the knowledge that they see, they said, Matome, go and talk to the municipality together with the technical team. And we went there, brilliant, present the case. And then the municipality is accepting it. But that's how it should be done. And at the same time, the ability to share. I mentor a lot of youngsters who have got brilliant thinking and who are initiative in their own businesses. And then make sure that I guide them, but allow them the freedom to go and do whatever that they want to do, mixing whatever the thinking that they have and the advice that which I've given them. And some are beginning to be more successful, but without collaboration, without sharing, which is the way in which Africans we are supposed to be. But ironically, we don't behave like that. And that's why we continue to fail and fail and fail, or because of being individualistic. We need to come to a realization that sharing is caring, and the only way to win is through collaboration.
Collaboration. Yeah, we've come now toward the end of the show. Some real pearls of wisdom. We cannot go alone far. We need to go together, and we will go very far and actually go even faster a longer distance. It's the world that we live in is about collaboration. Technology has allowed us to connect. There's a project that Matome spoke about that bringing in all different facets, and he's playing a key role there. I think this is where governance also plays such a strong role. So wherever you are, if you have a key project that you want to undertake, if you're feeling desolate in the sense that you don't know how to go about starting the project, go out and speak to others. Go to somebody that's a successful businessman and just reach out to them. Not for anything, just get advice. If you need to reach out to Matome as well, if you have a project in the engineering space or whatever, Matome, I know, is more than willing to be able to help you. You can connect with us on our Facebook and social media handles, Inspirate business handles, and Matome's details will be on there as well. And we can collaborate to do so many projects together in South Africa, on the continent. The idea is, I think it's the time for Africa now.
Yeah.
It's our time, and we have this great skill set, this great talent, and it's about collaborating. And wherever the problems are, that's a good thing. Wherever you see there is a problem, no, there's an opportunity, and we can work together to address that problem. And through that, make money, help our communities, and uplift this beautiful continent.
Yeah.
On that score, I'd like to thank you, Matome.
Thank you
for
very much.
blessing you with your presence. I know in your busy schedule you just came back, from East Africa, and we'd like to see you on many other of these Inspirate business shows. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.